Hello everyone, I am Phoenix Tremaine and this is my review of Scream Queens Season 1. If you haven't done so, please take a minute to subscribe to my channel. I have lots of really good stuff coming. I have my talk show, web series, and reviews. Also, I'm currently um, looking for people to be co-hosts, fitness instructors, talk show hosts, a whole lot of stuff that I got going on. I have a full production company. So, I've got a lot going on. If you're in the Baltimore, D.C., Virginia area and you're looking for, some acting roles or you want to be on a talk show or something like that, send me a message. Um, and if you really like me, you can hit that like button and I'd really appreciate it. Just like I really appreciate everybody who subscribed to me. So if you've already subscribed to me, thank you very much. I appreciate it and I will continue to try to bring you entertaining reviews as well as other types of programming. So with that said, we're on to Scream Queens. I really was looking forward to this show, and from the first episode to the last, I was completely surprised. I was surprised at how bad the show was. It wasn't bad in a good way, it was bad in a bad way. What I liked about the show was the cast. The show had a very good cast. I mean, the sets, the settings, all that stuff was good. But what really destroyed the show was the writing. The writing was awful. It was heavy. The comedy was heavy-handed. They tried to force this comedy into situations that didn't make any sense. A lot of the situations didn't make sense. Now, horror in general can have situations where you have to suspend disbelief. If you're in Friday the 13th and you're at a cabin in the woods and your friends start disappearing and shit just start happening that normally under normal circumstances you call the police, you run, you hide, you do all this different stuff, but for purposes of the movie you do really stupid shit to keep the movie going. Like, for instance, instead of running out the door, you run up the steps to the attic where you can't get out. So, as a horror fan, we forgive those types of things. But the reality is, it's a difference between an hour and a half movie a horror comedy that tries to, sort of suspend disbelief for just an hour and a half versus a TV show that's giving you 13 hours of programming. And that's a lot to try to deal with. And then the situations were so absurd. I know it's supposed to be a horror comedy, but we live in a world where there are killings on campus and shootings on campus and things like that. It's a national freaking emergency. It's all over the news. The campus is shut down. And with multiple people getting killed, and then the girls are like, oh, Chanel number 2's dead. Good night. And it's like, really, bitch? You're going to stay with this sorority? You just had an episode where there's like 5, 6 dead bodies were found and shit. It's like, within the confines of 1 hour and a half movie, you can go, okay, whatever. But 13 hours of really stupid, insane shit is like, what were they smoking when they was writing this shit? And the most disappointing thing about it was it's listed on IMDb as a mystery. It says black comedy, horror, mystery. And there was no mystery. Yes, it was a so-called mystery of who did it, but it wasn't written like your typical murder mystery where you can look back and go, oh, this, and this happened, so that was the person who did it. Or, oh, I missed this clue or I missed that clue. Damn, I should have known that person did it. But this was a situation where anybody could have did it. There was no clues. There were no breadcrumbs. They could have said anybody in the cast did it and try to make the shit make sense. So when they did reveal who the killer was, spoiler alert, this is a review of the season, so there are going to be spoilers, but it was Hester. And the way they spent those last 2 episodes trying desperately to say, oh, ha, I gotcha, it was Hester. It was like, really? And the way they were spinning the tale was like, you could have inserted any of these girls into this story and had them be the other baby. And it just didn't, it wasn't entertaining. It didn't make a whole lot of sense. And when Hester's bringing in people as witnesses and she's trying to get all the Chanels to get locked up, and she's like, Chanel did this because of that. Like, and like, you got a multiple personality and you didn't know it. But guess what? It was your other personality who killed such and such. And it was just ridiculous. If you watched it, you know what I'm talking about. It made absolutely no sense. And then you got Niecy Nash's character, Denise. She went from security guard to chief of police to now Quantico to be an FBI agent. It made absolutely no sense whatsoever, and it was not funny. So you can't even say it was just meant for comic relief. It'd be meant for comic relief if there was actually a joke in there somewhere. So, and the actors on the show are really good, but they had nothing to work with. Jamie Lee Curtis, one of the main reasons why I wanted to see this, she was just collecting a paycheck. She knew this was some bullshit. You could look at her and tell her acting was lazy because she acted so nonchalant in these scenes. It was like, is it payday yet? I mean, that is how Jamie Lee treated this. And I love Jamie Lee. I loved her in True Lies, and I loved her in Halloween and all the other movies she's done. So Jamie Lee Curtis is one of my favorites. And her character made no sense, as far as like her motivations and different things she was doing. And I wrote a whole list of people to go over. My honorable mentions first: Ariana Grande, Nick Jonas, Lucien, whatever his last name is, and Patrick Schwarzenegger. They all did good. They were okay. They were passable. They were just put in there for the young people. This shows, there's Ariana Grande. She got a new album out, Focus. Hey, look at her. She's on the show. Pretty much. And then you had Emma Roberts. Emma Roberts was probably the best actor with the material that she had. And she worked it. She committed to it. She did her job. She did her job in American Horror Story. She did her job in Scream Queens. Then Lea Michele from Glee, who turned out to be the killer. She did her job with the script that she had. I can't complain about her acting or anything. But I didn't like her character. It wasn't a great performance, but it wasn't a bad performance. I already talked about Jamie Lee. Keke Palmer was the token. She hadn't really, what was she there for? She was a token. Abigail Breslin, Chanel No. 5. She was okay. Her character had a major transplant. She was like the bitch that wanted to rule, kick Chanel out and rule the sorority. And then she became some dumbass by the end, desperate for a man. What the hell happened? I don't know. Some characters change personalities from the time it started to the time it ended. Skylar Samuel, who played Grace Gardner. And Chanel No. 5. Be able to look out for her. Fox is doing a version of Grease like NBC did The Wiz and Peter Pan and all that. Now Fox is jumping in with their version of Grease. ABC's jumping in their version with the Dirty Dancing musical. But she's got the lead in the Grease. She's going to be playing Sandy in Grease. So that's just some extra information for you. Skylar Samuels, who played Grace Gardner. She did a good job, but honestly, her character was the most of a waste. She was the main character the audience was following throughout the so-called mystery. And at the end, she didn't figure out who did it. She figured out who did it, but then it got turned around, so then somebody else was accused of doing it, and she let it go. So it was ridiculous. And her character had no real point with those last few episodes. It's like they just suddenly didn't give a shit about her character. Drago, who played Pete, after his big reveal that he was one of the killers, he just disappeared. They didn't even mention him anymore. They didn't show him get locked up or nothing. Oliver Hutton, who played Wes, Grace's father, he was one of the characters that had a personality transplant. He started the show all about his daughter. He fucks Dean Munch, and then all of a sudden he's like, okay, I don't need her anymore. You know, you go ahead, live your life while I do shit with Dean Munch and have lots of sex. You know, it didn't make sense. It was like they got a new writer who said, fuck all that shit that was written before. This is who he is now. Didn't make sense. Glenn Powell, who played Chad, just like Emma Roberts, committed to the role. He became that character. Niecy Nash. Now, I only laughed once in the first episode, and I laughed once in the last episode. Both was because of Niecy Nash. When Niecy Nash said, you know, don't you want to look at my ass one more time? You know, that moment made me laugh, and all the kissing they did, it made me laugh. But out of 13 hours of footage, 2 jokes landed with me. It made me laugh. The lady that played Gigi, Nasim Pedrad, she was okay, but she got killed 3 episodes ago. I didn't like the fact that she was stuck in the 80s or whatever. They got old really fast. And Billy C. Lord, let's put it like that. Chanel number 3, the one with the earmuffs. She actually did one of the best jobs along with Emma Roberts and Glenn Powell and Niecy Nash. You know, they all did good jobs with the characters that they had. But the show was just so bad. The jokes were bad. The mystery was bad. At the end, it was more like, who did it? Just reveal it and then try to make it make sense, and then it make no fucking sense. So that was it. That's my review of Scream Queens. I hope you enjoyed it. I got my talk show coming out today. Actually, it's coming. The first episode's coming on today. And I have a lot going on. I hope you enjoy it. I hope you like this review. And I'm going to throw an intro to one of my cast members, just so you can get a feel of my talk show and what's going on. And hopefully you like it and look for it. Don't forget to subscribe to me. Also, I'm doing a lot more on social media. So I know a lot of you joined me on Facebook, where I'm very interactive. I just got to hang on Instagram yesterday. I gave up when my pictures weren't looking right. They kept getting cut off. Now I finally figured out how to do it with my pictures not getting cut off anymore. So now I posted so much stuff on Instagram. I'm about to post on Instagram when I finish this. And I got so much going on now. So I hope you enjoy it. I hope you join me. Instagram, LinkedIn, Tumblr, Twitter, Facebook. I'm all over the place. Thinking about doing Periscope too. And so that's it. What did you think about Scream Queens? I actually have friends that like Scream Queens. They liked it from the beginning to the end. So this is just my opinion. I wasn't really feeling it. The ratings were horrible. They were dismal. So there were a lot of people that started watching it, and then it just went downhill from there. I don't think there will be a season 2, because I don't think the ratings will warrant it, unless they really have a good deal with Ryan Murphy and want to give him a second chance and see if he can do a better job with season 2. And I know the DVR added, more ratings, but it's not what they expected. So I'm not expecting a season 2, but we will see. And let me know what you thought about Scream Queens. Was it just dumb as shit and you didn't like it, or did you smoke some weed and thought it was the funniest shit ever? What did you think?